Hey guys, tonight we're going to dive into a life that was frankly less about glittering temples and more about gnawing anxieties. Imagine living in ancient Greece, a land shimmering with sun-drenched marble and the whispers of gods. You're not a warrior, not a philosopher, and certainly not a hedonistic reveler. Instead, you're chosen, marked. Your existence is dictated not by your own desires, but by the capricious will of Olympus. You breathe in the acrid fumes of prophecy, your mind a conduit for divine chaos, and your body a vessel for forces far beyond mortal comprehension. And just to put it in perspective, you probably wouldn't last a day in their shoes. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, let me know where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You feel it, don't you? This subtle shift in the air, a faint tremor, that suggests something momentous has occurred, even if the world around you remains oblivious. From the moment you draw your first breath in that sun-drenched, dust-mottled corner of ancient Greece, a peculiar luminescence seems to cling to you, an almost imperceptible shimmer that only the most attuned souls might notice. It's not a physical glow, mind you, but an innate resonance, a quiet hum that sets you apart from the babbling infants and bustling village life. You are born not merely to exist, but to serve. Your family, steeped in generations of tradition and devout reverence for the divine, recognizes the sign almost immediately. Perhaps it's the unusual calm in your infant eyes, or the way you seem to listen intently to sounds no one else hears but they know. You are different. You are destined. This isn't a choice, you see, it's a celestial decree whispered by the fates and etched into the very fabric of your being. As you grow, this peculiar connection to the unseen world only strengthens. While other children chase dusty chickens and mimic the merchants in the agora, you find yourself drawn to the quiet corners, to the rustling of leaves that seem to carry messages, to the distant rumble of thunder that feels like a conversation. You're not odd precisely, but observant, too contemplative for your tender years. You notice the way the light catches the carved eyes of a temple statue, almost as if they're watching you, following your every move. You hear the faint echo of voices in the wind, a gentle murmur that at first you dismiss as childish fancy. But the voices persist, becoming clearer, more distinct, like a chorus of ethereal whispers that only you can discern. This isn't a playful imagination at work. It's the subtle, undeniable encroachment of the divine into your nascent consciousness. Your childhood, if you can even call it that, is less about carefree games and more about quiet preparation. Your parents, with a mixture of pride and profound solemnity, guide you. They teach you the ancient hymns, the intricate rituals, the stories of gods and heroes, not as mere tales, but as living, breathing truths. You learn the proper way to approach the altars, the precise movements for an offering, the significance of every sacred symbol. You spend hours in hushed reverence before crumbling effigies, feeling the cool stone against your fingertips, almost sensing the faint, lingering energy of countless prayers. This isn't rote memorization. It's an immersion, a slow, deliberate steeping of your soul in the spiritual essence of your world. You learn to read the signs in the flights of birds and the way the smoke rises from a sacrifice in the patterns of frost on a winter morning. Every element of nature, it seems, holds a hidden language, and you uniquely are being taught its grammar. The village elders, with their weathered faces and eyes that seem to hold the wisdom of ages, also take an interest in you. They observe you during festivals, noting your unwavering focus, your quiet intensity. They tell stories of past oracles of men and women who bore the divine burden in their lives, a testament to both immense power and profound sacrifice. You listen wide-eyed, absorbing every detail, even as a tiny seed of apprehension begins to sprout in your young heart. There's a thrill in being chosen, a sense of immense purpose, but also a growing awareness of the weight that comes with such a destiny. You see the respect in their gazes, but also a hint of pity, a silent acknowledgement of the path you are set to walk. As you transition from childhood into adolescence, the whispers intensify. They are no longer faint echoes, but distinct voices intertwining and sometimes clashing within the confines of your developing mind. You begin to experience vivid dreams, not the typical childhood fantasies, but prophetic visions, fragmented glimpses of futures yet to unfold. You might see a distant storm brewing over the sea only for it to materialize days later, just as you envisioned. Or perhaps you'll witness a stranger's misfortune, and then inexplicably that individual appears in your village, their fate mirroring your dream. These aren't always pleasant revelations. Sometimes they are chilling, painting grim pictures of battles lost or lives cut short. You learn very quickly to keep these visions to yourself, understanding instinctively that such knowledge can be a dangerous thing, even for those who possess it. Your interactions with others become tinged with this unique awareness. When someone speaks, you not only hear their words, but also sense the hidden anxieties beneath them, the unspoken desires that drive their actions. It's like seeing through a veil, perceiving the intricate tapestry of human emotion and intent. This can be isolating. How do you relate to peers who are preoccupied with mundane concerns when your mind is grappling with cosmic revelations? You find solace in solitude in the quiet contemplation of the world, for it is in these moments that the divine connection feels clearest, least muddled by the clamor of everyday life. This is not to say you are entirely devoid of youthful impulses. Perhaps you still enjoy the taste of a sweet fig or the warmth of the sun on your skin, but these simple pleasures are always shadowed by the knowledge of your greater purpose. The journey towards becoming a full-fledged oracle is less a gentle ascent and more a relentless descent into the heart of the sacred. Your days are meticulously structured, filled with rituals and studies designed to hone your nascent abilities and prepare you for the immense responsibilities that await. You spend countless hours in the temple's libraries, not poring over scrolls of poetry or philosophy, but deciphering ancient texts, learning the language of the gods, understanding the complex pantheon of deities and their intricate relationships. You study the constellations, the movements of the planets, for the celestial bodies are believed to be celestial messengers, their alignment speaking volumes to those who understand their language. This isn't just academic learning, it's a spiritual transformation, a reshaping of your very perception of reality. You participate in purification rites often involving days of fasting, solitary contemplation, and immersion in icy spring waters. These are not merely symbolic acts, they are designed to cleanse your body and mind, to strip away worldly distractions, and to create a pristine vessel for divine communication. You learn to control your breathing to quiet the insistent clamor of your own thoughts, to achieve a state of serene receptivity. This disciplined regimen is physically and mentally demanding, pushing your limits, testing your resolve. There are moments of profound fatigue, of gnawing hunger, of shivering cold, but you endure driven by an unwavering sense of duty and the knowledge of your unique calling. The temple priests and priestesses, wise and formidable figures, oversee your training with an austere kindness. They are both your mentors and your guardians, guiding you through the labyrinthine pathways of spiritual enlightenment. They share their own experiences, their own struggles with the divine, offering glimpses into the life that awaits you. They teach you to interpret the subtle nuances of prophetic visions, to distinguish genuine divine communication from mere fancy, to understand the symbolism inherent in every omen and sign. They are strict, yes, but their sternness is born of a profound understanding of the immense power you are being groomed to wield, and the catastrophic consequences if that power is misused or misinterpreted. As you near the culmination of your training, the visions become more potent, more demanding. They no longer arrive in fragmented whispers, but in overwhelming torrents, flooding your mind with images, sounds, and sensations that threaten to overwhelm your very sanity. You see the faces of people you will never meet, hear the pleas of those yet to be born, witness events that span vast stretches of time and space. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose, the sheer volume of information staggering. You learn to anchor yourself, to find a stillness amidst the maelstrom, to channel the divine influx without succumbing to madness. This is the crucible, the ultimate test of your readiness. You might find yourself in these moments of intense spiritual saturation, experiencing fleeting glimpses of what might have been. A life unburdened by prophecy, perhaps where you could choose your own path. marry, raise a family, or simply enjoy the simple rhythms of everyday existence. These are fleeting, almost dreamlike reflections quickly subsumed by the overwhelming tide of your destiny. The path is set, the die cast. You are no longer merely a person. You are a bridge between the mortal and the divine, a conduit for the ineffable will of the gods. The air around you, once merely holding a peculiar luminescence, now crackles with latent energy, a tangible manifestation of the sacred fire that burns within you. The temple, once just a place of training, now feels like an extension of your very being, its ancient stones echoing the profound transformation you are undergoing. You are almost ready to step into your role, to embrace the miserable yet undeniably powerful life of a Greek oracle. The air thickens heavy with the scent of laurel leaves, and something else, something metallic and ancient that tickles the back of your throat. This isn't just the smell of a temple anymore, it's the very breath of the divine, a palpable force that presses down on you, seeping into your bones. The whispers which once felt like a gentle chorus now swell into a deafening roar, a cacophony of voices demanding your attention, vying for space within your skull. You are led not gently, but with a firm, almost ceremonial urgency, into the deepest, most sacred chamber of the temple. The stone walls, smooth and cool beneath your fingertips, seem to hum with centuries of forgotten prayers and potent energies. This is it. The initiation, the final terrifying step that will irrevocably bind you to the gods and transform you from a mere mortal into their unwilling mouthpiece. You are bathed not in refreshing water, but in a mixture of spring water. And something else, something acrid and tingling that feels less like purification and more like an unmaking. It stings your eyes, makes your skin prickle, and leaves you feeling strangely raw, exposed, as if a protective layer has been stripped away. You are then dressed not in soft linen, but in simple, unadorned robes that feel heavy, almost constricting. Every movement becomes deliberate, every breath a conscious effort. This isn't about comfort. It's about ritual, about shedding the last vestiges of your individual self, preparing to become an empty vessel for the divine. You can hear the distant chanting of the priests and priestesses, a low, hypnotic drone that vibrates through the very foundations of the temple, seeping into your consciousness. Then come the fumes. They rise from a chasm in the earth, a fissure in the sacred rock that plunges deep into the underworld, or so the legends claim. It's not a gentle mist, it's a thick, swirling vapor, pungent and disorienting. Laurel leaves are burned, their smoke adding to the intoxicating miasma, and as you inhale, your lungs burn, your head spins, and the world begins to tilt. This isn't a pleasant sensation, not a gentle transition into an altered state. It's a violent assault on your senses, a deliberate disorientation designed to shatter your rational mind and open you to the chaotic influx of divine energy. Your vision blurs the flickering lamplight in the chamber, dancing like malevolent spirits. Your ears ring with an unbearable pressure as if 1,000 voices are screaming at once, each demanding to be heard. You stumble, your knees threatening to buckle, but strong hands are there, guiding you, supporting you. You are led to a tripod, an ancient three-legged stool positioned directly over the chasm, directly over the source of the fumes. This is your throne, your altar, and your prison. The air here is even more potent, the fumes more suffocating. As you are seated, the world outside your immediate perception begins to recede, replaced by an overwhelming sense of light and sound. The boundaries of your body, once so distinct, begin to dissolve. You are no longer confined by skin and bone. You are expanding, merging with the very essence of the sacred space. The voices within your mind, once a cacophony, now coalesce into distinct commands, urgent pronouncements that feel less like thoughts and more like direct injections of knowledge. You feel an immense force surging through you, a raw, untamed power that threatens to tear you apart. This isn't gentle guidance. It's an invasion, a forceful occupation of your very being. You might gasp a strangled sound escaping your lips as the divine energy courses through your veins, electrifying every nerve ending. Your limbs might twitch involuntarily, your eyes roll back in your head, and a strange guttural language not your own might begin to escape your lips. This is the divine frenzy, the agonizing process through which the gods speak through you. You are no longer yourself. You are the oracle, the Pythia. Your identity, your memories, your individual will, they are all subsumed, pushed deep into the recesses of your consciousness. The thoughts that surface are not yours. The words that form are not chosen by you. You are a conduit, a living, breathing channel for the often incoherent, frequently cryptic pronouncements of Apollo. It's a terrifying loss of self, a complete surrender to forces that pay no mind to your personal comfort or sanity. You are simply a vessel, and the gods are not gentle with their instruments. Your first prophecy is probably a blur, a chaotic jumble of images and words that spill out of you without conscious thought. Perhaps it's a warning of an impending drought delivered in ancient poetic verse that sounds strangely alien coming from your own mouth. Or maybe it's a cryptic hint about a distant war spoken in a voice that resonates with the power of the divine, yet leaves you feeling utterly drained and disoriented. When the divine influence finally recedes, it's not a gentle withdrawal, but a sudden, jarring snap back to reality. You are left gasping, trembling, covered in a cold sweat. Your head aches, your throat is raw from the strange utterances, and a profound exhaustion settles over you as if every ounce of your life force has been expended. The priests and priestesses are there, their faces unreadable, observing you with a professional detachment. They record your words carefully, interpreting the often ambiguous phrases. They might offer you a restorative drink, perhaps a mixture of wine and herbs, but there's no comfort, no gentle reassurance. Their role is to facilitate the connection, not to soothe the messenger. You are a sacred tool, and tools are not meant to be pampered. This is your new reality. This is the price of being chosen. Life as an oracle, you quickly learn, is not one of reverence and quiet contemplation. It is one of perpetual low-grade suffering. Your body never truly recovers from the intensity of the prophetic trances. You carry a constant sense of fatigue, a dull ache behind your eyes, a persistent tremor in your hands. The fumes, the divine energy, they take their toll, slowly eroding your physical and mental well-being. Some historians still debate whether the fumes themselves were intoxicating gases or if the altered states were purely psychological, induced by the rituals and the intense pressure. Regardless, the effect on your mind is undeniable. The line between reality and the divine blurs, leaving you feeling perpetually adrift. You become a prisoner of the temple, your every movement monitored, your every interaction carefully controlled. You are revered, yes, but also feared and kept at a distance. You are not allowed to marry, not allowed to have children, for your purity and your singular devotion to Apollo must remain absolute. Your life is defined by service, by waiting for the next divine summons, the next influx of overwhelming power. You are sustained by the temple, provided with food and shelter, but you are not truly free. The weight of prophecy, the knowledge of futures unseen, isolates you in a way that mere physical confinement never could. There are moments, however brief and fleeting, when the divine connection feels less like an invasion and more like a profound understanding. Perhaps during a rare moment of clarity, you might see the wisdom in a particular prophecy, the intricate way the gods weave the threads of fate. Or you might feel a pang of empathy for a desperate supplicant, knowing the weight of their burden even before they utter a word. These moments are rare, like tiny glints of sunlight breaking through a perpetually overcast sky, but they remind you of the immense power you wield, however involuntarily. But these moments are overshadowed by the constant demands. People come from all corners of the Greek world, kings seeking advice on war, merchants inquiring about trade routes, ordinary citizens desperate for guidance on marriage or harvests. They arrive with their hopes and fears, their offerings, and their pleas all directed at you. They don't see your exhaustion, your internal struggle, or the profound toll the prophecies take. They see only the oracle, the voice of the gods, and they demand answers. You are expected to deliver regardless of your personal state, regardless of the clarity or lack thereof of the divine message. This constant pressure, this relentless exposure to human anxieties, only exacerbates your own internal turmoil. You become a repository for the world's troubles, and you have no outlet for your own. The very essence of your being is sacrificed for the sake of divine pronouncements, making your existence less a sacred duty and more a profound, miserable servitude. You are the voice of the gods, but you have lost your own. The temple, once a sanctuary, now feels like a gilded cage, its sacred stones pressing in on you, echoing the confinement of your spirit. Each sunrise brings with it the dread of another day filled with petitioners, another session on the tripod, another agonizing descent into the divine frenzy. You are no longer just an individual, you are an institution, a living, breathing symbol of Apollo's will. Your every moment is orchestrated, your every need attended to by the priests and priestesses, but always with the underlying understanding that your purpose transcends your personhood. You are the oracle, and your life is not your own. The routine is relentless. You wake often still heavy with the lingering echoes of prophetic dreams and begin the rigorous purification rituals. These aren't just symbolic gestures now. They are a desperate attempt to steel yourself for the ordeal to come. You bathe in the icy spring water, feeling its sharp bite against your skin, trying to wash away the previous day's psychic residue. You fast your stomach churning, knowing that a clear mind and an empty vessel are supposedly more receptive to the divine. You chew on laurel leaves, their bitter taste filling your mouth, even as you suspect their true purpose is less about clarity and more about inducing a dissociative state. The priests observe you, their gazes impassive, assessing your readiness, ensuring you are sufficiently prepared to endure the onslaught of divine energy. Then comes the procession. You are led usually by two priestesses through dimly lit corridors, the air growing progressively heavier with the incense and the faint, unsettling scent of the chasm. The chanting of the priests begins a low, resonant hum that vibrates through the very floor beneath your feet. It's designed to create a hypnotic atmosphere to lull the human mind into a state of receptivity. For you, however, it feels like a dirge, a mournful prelude to the suffering that awaits. You enter the Adaton, the most sacred inner sanctum, a place forbidden to all but the priests and the oracle. The air here is thick, cloying with the fumes that perpetually rise from the fissure in the earth. This isn't just a building, it's a living entity breathing the very essence of the underworld. The tripod, stark and unyielding, stands directly over the vent, a sentinel awaiting its human burden. You approach it, your steps heavy, your heart a dull drum against your ribs. There's no escape, no reprieve. This is your destiny, your daily torment. As you sit upon the tripod, the fumes assault your senses with renewed vigor. Your lungs burn, your vision blurs, and the familiar dizziness takes hold. The ground seems to shift beneath you, the very walls of the Adaton beginning to ripple and distort. This is the moment of transition, the terrifying threshold where your human consciousness begins to fray, replaced by something ancient and immense. Historians still debate the exact composition of these fumes, with theories ranging from ethylene gas to carbon dioxide, but whatever their chemical makeup, their psychological effect is undeniable. You feel yourself slipping, losing your grip on reality, becoming a mere conduit. The divine voices return louder, more insistent than ever. They are not gentle whispers now. They are torrents of sound, a clamor of divine pronouncements, images and raw emotions that flood your mind. You might see visions of distant lands of ships, sailing treacherous seas of armies clashing on blood-soaked plains. You might hear the lamentations of a grieving mother, or the joyous shouts of a victorious general. These aren't abstract concepts. They are vivid, immersive experiences that you live through, feeling the terror, the joy, the despair, as if they were your own. The sheer volume of information, the overwhelming intensity of the divine influx is a constant assault on your sanity. Your body becomes a puppet contorting involuntarily as the divine energy courses through you. Your limbs might jerk, your head might loll, and a strange guttural language unlike any you've ever heard erupts from your throat. These are the prophecies, the cryptic utterances that the priests carefully transcribe, trying to decipher the true meaning from the chaotic outpouring. Sometimes your voice is clear, ringing with an otherworldly authority. Other times it's a strained whisper, barely audible over your own ragged breathing. You are aware vaguely of the priests hovering their quills, scratching furiously on papyrus, but their presence feels distant like figures in a dream. You are lost in the maelstrom of the divine, a small boat tossed on an infinite turbulent sea. When the session ends, the divine energy recedes with a sudden, jarring snap. You are left gasping, trembling, your body racked with spasms. A profound exhaustion settles over you, a bone-deep weariness that feels as if every ounce of your life force has been drained. Your head throbs, your throat is raw, and a metallic taste lingers in your mouth. You might vomit, your body rebelling against the ordeal it has just endured. The priests help you down from the tripod, their faces impassive, their hands efficient. There's no offer of comfort, no word of solace. Your purpose has been served. You are led back to your Spartan chambers where you collapse onto a simple cot, too spent to even fully register your surroundings. Sleep, when it finally comes, is fitful, haunted by the lingering echoes of the visions, the disembodied voices that still whisper at the edges of your awareness. Even in slumber, the gods seem to demand their due. You are constantly on edge, perpetually waiting for the next summons, the next descent into the divine. There's an uncanny detail that many overlook. The Pythia rarely live to an old age, a testament to the brutal toll this divine service took on their bodies and minds. It wasn't a gentle retirement, it was often a quiet, premature demise. The weight of the knowledge you possess is also a crushing burden. You hear pleas for guidance on matters of life and death, of war and peace, of prosperity and famine. You know outcomes that the petitioners do not, insights into their future that you cannot, must not share directly. You must speak in riddles and metaphors, for the God's will is rarely straightforward, and direct pronouncements could alter fate in ways that are forbidden. This ambiguity, while frustrating for those who seek your counsel, is also a form of protection both for the divine message and for your own fragile sanity. Imagine knowing the terrible fate that awaits someone, yet being able only to offer a cryptic warning they may or may not comprehend. It's a profound, isolating responsibility. You develop a kind of detached empathy observing the endless procession of human hope and despair. You see the king mighty in his armor, yet trembling with fear about a coming battle. You see the humble farmer, his hands calloused, his eyes pleading for a bountiful harvest. You become intimately familiar with the spectrum of human emotion, yet remain utterly apart from it. You are a mirror reflecting their anxieties, their desires, their desperation, but you cannot truly share in their humanity. This profound isolation is perhaps the most miserable aspect of your existence. You are revered, yes, but you are also profoundly alone, a living bridge between worlds, yet belonging to neither. And then there are the rare, almost comical moments where the divine seems to have a peculiar sense of humor. Perhaps a supplicant asks about the best way to train a particularly stubborn mule, and the answer delivered in your guttural, otherworldly voice is a poetic verse about the virtues of patience and a detailed description of the mule's favorite type of thistle. Or a question about a lost item leads to a convoluted prophecy involving a talking parrot and a hidden cave, leaving everyone utterly bewildered. These little absurdities, while rare, offer a fleeting, almost welcome break from the relentless solemnity, a tiny reminder that even the gods have their eccentricities. Your days blur into weeks, weeks into months marked only by the rising and falling of the sun and the unending cycle of prophecy. The temple becomes your entire world, its sounds, its smells, its rituals, the sum total of your existence. You are the voice of Apollo, but your own voice, the one that once spoke of childhood dreams and simple desires, has been irrevocably silenced, replaced by the echoes of the divine. This is the reality of your chosen life, a perpetual state of spiritual invasion, physical exhaustion, and profound, soul-crushing isolation. You are the oracle, a living legend, but legends often mask a bitter truth. The air in the Adyton, thick with the intoxicating fumes, presses in on you, a physical manifestation of the divine presence. As you sit perched on the tripod, your body no longer feels entirely your own. It's a vessel, a conduit, and the divine energy courses through your veins, electrifying every nerve ending, making your muscles twitch and your eyes roll back. This isn't the gentle, ethereal communion depicted in romanticized tales. It's a violent possession, a forceful occupation of your very being. You might feel a scream building in your throat, a desperate human protest against the invasion, but no sound escapes, only the strange guttural pronouncements that are Apollo's words, not yours. The visions cascade one after another, an overwhelming torrent of images and sensations. You might see a distant battlefield, the clash of bronze shields, the screams of dying men, and the chilling glint of steel. You feel the dust in your throat, the terror in your heart, as if you are there living every agonizing moment. Then just as suddenly it shifts. You're in a bustling marketplace, the smell of exotic spices and roasted meats, filling your senses, a cacophony of voices, haggling over wares. You see a merchant, his face etched with worry, contemplating a risky voyage, and you instinctively know the treacherous storms that await his ship. This isn't just seeing, it's experiencing, absorbing the emotional resonance of each vision, feeling the weight of their potential outcomes. The sheer volume of these experiences is staggering, leaving your mind reeling, your consciousness fractured. Your own voice is gone, replaced by the resonant, often cryptic utterances of the divine. The words tumble out not as a coherent stream, but as fragmented phrases, poetic metaphors, and often unsettling riddles. The priests standing by with their papyrus scrolls and sharpened quills scribble furiously, attempting to capture every syllable, every strained breath. They are the interpreters, the translators of your agony, tasked with deciphering the ambiguous pronouncements that spill from your lips. It's an interesting academic debate whether the ambiguity was intentional, a way for the gods to test human ingenuity, or simply a byproduct of the intense, chaotic nature of the prophetic trance. Regardless, it often leads to misunderstandings, misinterpretations, and sometimes tragic consequences for those who sought guidance. When the divine influence finally recedes, it's not a gentle release, but a sudden jarring withdrawal, leaving you gasping, trembling, and utterly depleted. Your muscles ache, your head throbs with a blinding pain, and a profound nausea churns in your stomach. You are covered in a cold sweat, your skin clammy, and your throat is raw from the strange sounds you uttered. The shift back to your own consciousness is disorienting, like surfacing from a deep, turbulent ocean. You lie there sprawled on the floor beside the tripod, too weak to move, too exhausted to even properly register the faces of the priests who now approach you, with their restorative drinks and their impassive gazes. There's no pity in their eyes, only a clinical assessment of your condition, a silent check that their valuable instrument is still functional. The exhaustion is perpetual. You rarely feel truly rested even after hours of sleep. Your dreams are often haunted by the echoes of visions, the fragmented whispers of divine pronouncements that refuse to leave your mind. You wake up with a sense of dread, knowing that the cycle will begin anew. That soon you will be led back to the Adonis, back to the tripod, back to the agonizing surrender of yourself. Your body, once vibrant and youthful, slowly begins to show the strain. Your eyes take on a haunted, distant look. Your hands might develop a slight tremor. The constant exposure to the fumes and the raw divine energy takes its toll, silently eroding your physical and mental well-being. Life in the temple is one of profound isolation. You are revered, yes, seen as a sacred figure, almost divine yourself. But this reverence comes with a heavy price. No one truly speaks to you as a person. The priests treat you with deferential distance, their interactions formal and focused solely on your role as oracle. The supplicants see you as a mystical gateway, not a human being. You are forbidden from forming personal attachments, from marrying, from having children. Your entire existence is dedicated to Apollo, and any deviation is seen as a betrayal of your sacred trust. You are surrounded by people, yet profoundly alone, a living bridge between worlds, but belonging fully to neither. You witness the full spectrum of human desperation. Kings, mighty and proud in public, approach you with trembling hands, seeking reassurance about impending battles or alliances. Common farmers, their faces etched with worry, plead for a bountiful harvest or the safe return of a loved one from the sea. Young lovers seek guidance on their unions, while vengeful rivals seek divine justification for their feuds. You become a repository for all their anxieties, their hopes, their deepest fears. You absorb their emotions, their desperate pleas, and yet you cannot truly respond as a human. You can only offer the gods cryptic counsel, which often leaves them more bewildered than enlightened. There's a grim irony in your situation. You are the fount of wisdom, yet you have no agency over your own life. You know the fates of countless others, but your own destiny is rigidly prescribed. You are the voice of Apollo, but your own human voice, the one that might cry out in pain or yearn for connection, is perpetually silenced. It's like being a magnificent statue admired for its beauty and power, but utterly devoid of inner life. Occasionally, there are moments of almost absurd levity, a stark contrast to the usual solemnity. Perhaps a wealthy merchant, anxious about his upcoming trading expedition, asks if he should invest in a new fleet of ships, and your divine pronouncement delivered in that otherworldly voice is a seemingly nonsensical rhyme about a particular kind of rare iridescent fish, found only in the deepest parts of the Aegean. The priests exchange baffled glances while the merchant scratches his head utterly confused. Or a general might inquire about the best strategy for an upcoming siege, and the answer involves a detailed description of how to properly cultivate olive trees, complete with soil types and watering schedules. These instances, rare as they are, serve as a strange reminder that the gods in their infinite wisdom can also be profoundly, almost comically opaque. Remember that time you accidentally gave a prophecy about the best way to clean a particularly stubborn stain out of a tunic? The priests were not amused, but you deep down felt a flicker of something akin to amusement. The passage of time becomes a blurred sequence of rituals, trances, and exhaustion. You are a timeless figure, a permanent fixture in the sacred landscape, yet your own existence feels ephemeral, fading with each successive divine possession. The glorious marble of the temple bathed in the eternal sunlight of Greece is a stark contrast to the shadowed inner turmoil of your life. You are the oracle, the famed Pythia of Delphi, but behind the veil of divine reverence lies a profound, miserable truth. Your life is not a gift, but a perpetual sacrifice. The temple, with its grand columns and ancient stones, stands as a monument to divine power, but for you, it is a constant, suffocating presence. Every day bleeds into the next, a relentless cycle of preparation trance and profound exhaustion. You carry the weight of untold prophecies, the secrets of kings and commoners alike, but your own heart remains a sealed vault, its desperate yearnings unheard. Your senses, once acutely attuned to the subtle shifts of the world, are now perpetually frayed, vibrating with the residual energy of countless divine invasions. The line between your personal consciousness and the overwhelming influx of Apollo's voice grows ever thinner, threatening to unravel you completely. You are led once again to the Adyton, the air growing heavy with the cloying sweetness of burning laurel and the pungent, earthy smell of the chasm. Your steps are mechanical now, a practiced ritual of surrender. As you ascend the few steps to the tripod, your mind prepares itself for the inevitable shattering. The priests, their faces masked by solemnity, stand ready, their quills poised, waiting to capture the incoherent wisdom that will soon spill from your lips. This isn't just a physical act. It's a spiritual dismemberment, a willing or unwilling sacrifice of your autonomy for the sake of divine pronouncements. The fumes envelop you, their intoxicating embrace tightening with each breath. Your head spins, your limbs grow heavy, and the world begins to dissolve into a kaleidoscopic blur. The familiar sensation of yourself detaching of your consciousness being pushed aside begins. It's like watching a boat drift away from shore, slowly, irrevocably leaving you stranded on a desolate island of fragmented thoughts. This is the divine delirium, the terrifying loss of control that marks the onset of prophecy. You are no longer you. You are the oracle, a mouthpiece for the chaotic, often terrifying will of the gods. Visions flash before your inner eye not as clear images, but as sensory bombardments. You might taste the salt spray of the sea even as you see a distant storm gathering. You might feel the scorching heat of a desert even as you witness a thirsty army marching towards its doom. The sounds are deafening, the clamor of battle, the cries of the wounded, the joyous shouts of victory, all mixed with the incessant, overlapping whispers of divine voices. These are not merely observations. They are visceral experiences that leave you shaken even after the trance has passed. You are living through the fates of others, experiencing their triumphs and their agonies without the benefit of a personal stake, only the profound exhaustion of empathy. Your body contorts sometimes violently as the divine energy channels through you. Your voice strained and guttural issues forth prophecies, riddles, and sometimes seemingly nonsensical pronouncements. The priests frantically transcribe their brows furrowed in concentration, attempting to untangle meaning from the chaos. They ask questions, sometimes repeatedly trying to clarify the ambiguous messages, but you are beyond direct answers. You are merely the vessel, the words pouring out of you, driven by a force beyond your comprehension or control. You are vaguely aware of their presence, their desperate attempts to make sense of the divine, but their world feels infinitely distant from your own internal maelstrom. When the divine current finally recedes, it leaves you utterly broken, a shattered vessel on the floor of the Aditon. You lie there gasping for breath, your muscles twitching. Uncontrollably, your mind a foggy wasteland. The pain is not just physical. It's a profound mental and spiritual ache, the exhaustion of having your very essence invaded and distorted. You might vomit your body, rejecting the trauma it has just endured. The priests help you, their movements efficient and detached, their faces betraying no emotion. They administer a restorative drink, but it barely touches the edges of your profound fatigue. You are led back to your cell-like chambers where you collapse onto the rough cot, too drained to even think, only to exist. Sleep offers little solace. Your dreams are fractured, haunted by the lingering echoes of prophecies, by the faces of desperate supplicants, by the clamor of divine voices that refuse to quiet. You wake with a sense of dread, the exhaustion never truly leaving you. This constant state of spiritual invasion and physical depletion has taken a profound toll on your body. You are perpetually pale, your eyes sunken, and a perpetual tremor might afflict your hands. The vibrant life you once possessed has been siphoned away, replaced by a hollow, almost spectral existence. It's a well-known historical detail that the lifespan of a Pythia was often remarkably short, a grim testament to the taxing nature of their divine service. This isn't just anecdotal. Archaeological evidence suggests that many oracles did not live to old age, their bodies simply unable to withstand the relentless strain. The petitioners, with their endless stream of questions, are a constant source of both fascination and frustration. You see the full spectrum of human nature, from selfless devotion to cunning treachery. Kings seek to legitimize their wars, merchants to enrich themselves, lovers to secure their unions, and the sick to find a cure. Each brings their hopes, fears, and offerings, laying them at your feet, expecting divine intervention. You are privy to their deepest desires, their secret anxieties, yet you remain utterly separate. You are their sacred object, their link to the gods, but never their equal, never their confidant. Imagine the burden of knowing the outcome of a great battle, the lives that will be lost, the families that will be shattered, yet being able to offer only a cryptic riddle that may or may not be understood until it's too late. Or knowing a loved one will never return, but being forced to speak in metaphors of changing tides and shifting winds. This constant suppression of direct truth, this perpetual speaking in riddles, is a torment in itself, a form of intellectual and emotional constipation. You are the source of divine truth, yet perpetually forced to obscure it. There are, of course, the occasional, almost whimsical moments that break through the oppressive solemnity. Perhaps a worried farmer asks about his ailing cow, and your divine pronouncement, delivered in that resonant, otherworldly tone, is a detailed recipe for an herbal poultice and a suggestion to sing lullabies to the bovine. The priests struggle to record it, and the farmer looks utterly bewildered, but for a fleeting moment a hint of absurdity punctures the heavy air. Or a general, desperate for a military advantage, asks for a prediction about the enemy's movements, and the answer is a poetic ode to the beauty of wildflowers blooming on a distant hill. These moments, rare as they are, serve as a stark, almost humorous reminder of the gods' inscrutable nature, and perhaps a tiny internal flicker of your own amusement at their divine caprice. Your existence is a paradox. You are the most powerful woman in Greece, revered and sought after by all, yet you are utterly powerless over your own life. You are the voice of the gods, but you have no voice of your own. You exist in a liminal space, neither fully human nor fully divine, perpetually caught between worlds. The temple, with its echoing silence and the pervasive scent of ancient sacrifices, becomes your entire universe, a gilded cage from which there is no escape. Your life is a continuous sacrifice, a slow, agonizing immolation on the altar of divine will. The relentless cycle grinds on. Each day is a reenactment of the last, a slow, agonizing erosion of your very essence. The sacred chamber, once a place of awe, now feels like a sterile operating theater where your soul is routinely dissected for the divine will. The scent of laurel, once mystical, is now merely acrid, a constant reminder of the chemical assault on your senses. You exist in a state of perpetual limbo, neither fully alive nor truly at peace, a mere echo of the person you once were. As you are led to the tripod, your steps are almost automatic muscle memory guiding your fatigued body. The priests, their faces unchanging, perform their duties with a chilling efficiency, their actions devoid of warmth or recognition of your suffering. They are the guardians of the oracle, yes, but also in a very real sense your jailers. The sounds of the temple, the hushed murmurs of waiting supplicants, the distant clang of bronze, the ever-present chanting, filter through your consciousness as if from a great distance, detached and unreal. You feel a profound sense of loneliness, an isolation so complete it almost feels physical, a cold void within your chest. The fumes rise from the chasm, a tangible shroud that slowly smothers your rational mind. Your vision blurs the flickering lamplight in the adyton, stretching into distorted streaks. The world outside begins to spin and the familiar dizziness takes hold, pulling you down into the depths of the divine trance. This isn't a gentle descent. It's a forceful plunge, a violent tearing of your consciousness from its earthly moorings. You might feel a surge of panic, a desperate urge to resist, but your body is already beyond your control, a mere puppet of the forces now taking hold. Ancient texts hint at the physical contortions and guttural sounds made by the Pythia during her trances, suggesting an ordeal far removed from serene meditation. It was a spectacle of divine possession, frightening to witness and surely agonizing to endure. The visions that flood your mind are no longer mere images. They are full-blown realities, experiences so vivid, they feel more real than your waking life. You might find yourself standing amidst a raging storm at sea, feeling the spray on your face, the deck pitching violently beneath your feet as a desperate ship founders. Or you might be transported to a crowded city, hearing the joyous cries of a newborn, smelling the bread baking in ovens, and seeing the future prosperity of a humble family. The emotions associated with these visions, whether joy or despair, flood your own being, leaving you emotionally raw and utterly drained. You are living countless lives within the span of a single prophecy, bearing witness to triumphs and tragedies that are not your own yet, which feel deeply personal in their impact. The words Apollo's words pour out of you a torrent of cryptic verses and ambiguous pronouncements. Your throat aches, your voice rasps, yet the words keep coming, driven by an unseen, undeniable force. The priests frantically transcribe their faces, a mixture of intense concentration and veiled awe. They ask clarifying questions, their voices cutting through the chaotic din of the divine, but your responses remain elusive, wrapped in layers of metaphor and riddle. You are aware distantly of their struggle to interpret, of the weighty responsibility they bear to translate the divine will, but you can offer no help, no conscious clarification. You are merely the conduit, a living mouthpiece with no control over the message itself. When the divine current finally breaks, it's not a gentle ebbing, but a sudden violent cessation like a snapped string. You collapse utterly, spent, your body trembling uncontrollably. The pain in your head is blinding, a sharp, piercing ache behind your eyes that makes you want to curl into a ball and simply cease to exist. Nausea churns in your gut, and often you retch your body, purging itself of the unbearable spiritual and physical overload. The cold sweat that covers your skin leaves you shivering despite the warmth of the chamber. The priests are there, helping you, their hands impersonal, their faces unreadable masks. You are too exhausted to resist, too broken to care. The moments between trances are a different kind of torment. You are perpetually tired, your mind a hazy landscape of fractured thoughts and lingering prophetic echoes. Sleep offers little respite, often filled with vivid, disturbing dreams that are indistinguishable from true visions. You are trapped in a state of perpetual exhaustion, your energy constantly depleted by the demands of the gods. Your physical health steadily deteriorates. Your complexion is sallow, your eyes deeply shadowed, and your body often racked by aches and tremors. It's a subtle, insidious decay, a slow unwinding of your very being. The procession of supplicants never ends. Day after day, they come bringing their hopes, their fears, their dilemmas. You hear the ambitious pleas of generals seeking victory, the desperate cries of lovers yearning for reunion, the anxious questions of farmers praying for rain. You are privy to the most intimate details of their lives, their deepest secrets and desires, yet you remain utterly separate and unapproachable figure on the tripod. You are the sacred listener, but never the active participant. This constant exposure to human suffering and desire without the ability to truly connect or intervene is a profound, isolating burden. It's like watching a play where you know all the endings but are forbidden to speak your knowledge an unbearable secret. The irony of your existence is a bitter pill. You are the most revered figure in the Greek world, the voice of Apollo consulted by kings and empires, yet you possess no personal freedom, no agency over your own life. Your wisdom is legendary, but your own destiny is rigidly defined, a pre-written script from which you cannot deviate. You are glorified, placed on a pedestal, but it is a pedestal built on your suffering, maintained by your perpetual sacrifice. You are a tool, a sacred instrument valued only for your ability to channel the divine, stripped of all personal identity. There are even moments, though rare, when the sheer absurdity of your situation breaks through the haze of exhaustion. Perhaps a local shepherd asks about the best time to shear his flock, and your answer delivered in the profound, echoing voice of Apollo is a detailed dissertation on the migratory patterns of a particularly obscure species of bird. The shepherd stares blankly, utterly lost, while the priests exchange bewildered glances. Or a politician seeking guidance on a complex legal dispute receives a prophecy that details the precise care and feeding of a sacred temple cat. These moments, as rare as they are, offer a fleeting, almost internal chuckle, a tiny spark of rebellion against the unrelenting solemnity. You remember that one time you gave a prophecy about the best type of olive oil to use for cooking lamprey, and the general who asked looked ready to tear his hair out. The days blur into an indistinguishable stream of ritual and torment. You are the oracle, a living legend, a bridge between the mortal and divine, but the cost of that connection is your very soul. The temple walls, echoing with countless prophecies, seem to whisper your misery back to you, a constant reminder of the profound, lonely sacrifice that defines your existence. You are forever bound to the gods, a silent testament to the agonizing price of divine communion. The very air you breathe in the temple is saturated with the weight of expectation, a constant, invisible pressure that bears down on your soul. Each day the sun rises over the gleaming marble, illuminating a path not of freedom, but of relentless servitude. You are no longer merely a human being. You are an extension of the sacred space itself, your existence inextricably linked to the chasm, the fumes, and the demands of Apollo. The initial awe, if there ever was any, has long since dissolved into a dull, persistent ache that permeates your entire being. As you are led to the Adyton, the familiar procession feels like a walk to an inevitable doom, a preordained step in a cosmic dance over which you have no control. The chanting of the priests meant to soothe and sanctify now merely grates on your frayed nerves. Their impassive faces, once perhaps a comfort, now seem to reflect the very indifference of the gods themselves. You are a tool, and they are the meticulous caretakers of that tool, nothing more. The faint scent of the offerings from earlier in the day, charred meat and sweet wine, mixes with the ever-present, acrid fumes of the chasm, creating a nauseating cocktail that makes your stomach churn. The tripod awaits its cold, unyielding bronze, a stark reminder of your impending ordeal. As you settle onto it, your body already begins to anticipate the coming invasion. The fumes rise, swirling around you like malevolent spirits, seeping into your lungs, burning your eyes, and clouding your mind. This isn't a gentle drifting. It's a violent push into an altered state, a deliberate shattering of your consciousness. You feel a strange dissociation, as if your spirit is being forcibly wrenched from your body, hovering just above, watching the spectacle below. Archaeological evidence and historical accounts consistently depict the Pythia's trances as physically strenuous and disorienting, far from a tranquil meditative state. It was a profound agonizing transformation. Then comes the deluge. The visions are no longer fragmented glimpses, but overwhelming multi-sensory experiences. You are no longer just seeing a battle. You are on the battlefield, the clash of swords, deafening the cries of the wounded, piercing the taste of blood metallic in your mouth. You feel the surge of adrenaline, the terror of impending death, and the brutal satisfaction of victory. Then, just as suddenly, you might find yourself in a bustling city harbor, hearing the creak of ships, smelling the tar and salt, and feeling the vibrant energy of trade, yet simultaneously witnessing a hidden plot unfolding in a dark alleyway, a betrayal that will have far-reaching consequences. These experiences are exhausting each vision, leaving a lingering imprint, a psychic residue that you carry long after the trance is over. Your voice, once your own, becomes a vehicle for Apollo's pronouncements. The words tumble out, often guttural and strained, sometimes a whisper, sometimes a booming command. They are riddles, prophecies, warnings, and sometimes seemingly nonsensical verses that challenge interpretation. The priests, ever vigilant, scribble furiously their quills, scratching against the papyrus, trying to capture every ambiguous utterance. They interject with questions, attempting to guide the divine message, but you are beyond direct comprehension or response. You are merely the echoing chamber, the resonating vessel for a force that cares little for human clarity or convenience. When the divine frenzy finally recedes, it's not a gentle release, but a sudden, violent wrenching back to your own consciousness. You gasp for air, your body trembling uncontrollably, sweat plastering your hair to your forehead. A blinding pain lances through your head, and profound nausea churns in your stomach, often leading to violent retching. Every muscle in your body aches as if you've run a marathon. The priests help you down their hands, impersonal, their faces betraying no sympathy. You are simply exhausted, utterly depleted, a husk of your former self. You crave only the oblivion of sleep, but even that offers little true rest. The periods between trances are a different kind of torture. You are constantly fatigued, your mind a foggy landscape haunted by the echoes of visions and the clamor of divine voices. Sleep is rarely restorative, often plagued by vivid nightmares that feel indistinguishable from actual prophecies. Your physical appearance reflects your inner turmoil. Pallid skin, sunken eyes, and a perpetual tremor in your hands are common. The constant exposure to the fumes, the relentless psychic drain, and the profound stress of channeling the divine slowly erode your health. It's a subtle, insidious decline, a quiet sacrifice that goes largely unnoticed by those who come seeking your wisdom. The endless stream of petitioners is a source of both profound insight and immense frustration. You see the full spectrum of human nature, the desperate plea of a mother for her sick child, the cunning machinations of a politician, the burning ambition of a general. You absorb their anxieties, their hopes, their fears, yet you remain utterly detached. You are a sacred ear listening to all their secrets, but forbidden from offering direct comfort or advice. You must speak in riddles and metaphors, ensuring that the gods will, however obscure, is delivered without altering fate directly. This burden of knowing so much yet being able to reveal so little is a profound and isolating torment. It's like watching a tragedy unfold in slow motion, knowing the ending but being unable to intervene. Then there are those rare, almost surreal moments that break through the oppressive weight of your existence. Perhaps a wealthy merchant worried about his investments asks for guidance on his next venture, and your divine pronouncement is a meticulously detailed recipe for a particularly complex yet delicious ancient Greek pastry. The priests exchange baffled glances while the merchant looks utterly bewildered, clutching his scroll. Or a young man desperate to know if his love will be reciprocated receives a prophecy about the ideal conditions for cultivating grapes on a specific hillside, complete with precise instructions for trellising. These rare flashes of divine eccentricity, though infrequent, offer a brief, almost welcome moment of bizarre levity in your otherwise somber life. Remember that one time you gave a prophecy about the most effective way to untangle fishing nets, And the grizzled old fisherman just stared at you, mouth agape. Your life is a paradox. You are the most influential person in the Greek world, capable of swaying empires and shaping destinies. Yet you are a prisoner in your own body, a voice for others, but silenced in your own desires. You are revered, placed on a pedestal, but that pedestal is built upon your constant suffering and profound isolation. You are the oracle, a living legend, but legends rarely tell the full, miserable truth of the human cost. The temple, once a beacon of spiritual power, now feels like a tomb, its ancient stones echoing with your silent suffering. Each day is a relentless continuation of your fate, a slow-motion unraveling of your very being. The constant influx of divine energy, the unending demands of the supplicants, and the perpetual isolation have worn you down, leaving you a hollowed-out shell, barely tethered to the mortal world. Your mind, once sharp and curious, is now a fractured landscape of lingering visions and prophetic echoes, a chaotic hum that never truly quiets. As you are guided towards the Aditon, your steps are heavy, almost automatic, devoid of any conscious will. The familiar scent of laurel smoke and the pungent fumes of the chasm fill your nostrils, a nauseating prelude to the ordeal that awaits. The priests with their impassive faces are efficient and detached, their movements practiced, almost robotic. They are merely performing their sacred duty, ensuring the oracle is ready to serve, oblivious to the profound torment you endure. You feel a profound sense of resignation, a chilling acceptance of your endless servitude. There is no escape, no reprieve, only the ceaseless cycle of prophecy. You take your place on the tripod, its cold, hard surface, a stark contrast to the swirling chaos about to erupt within you. The fumes rise, enveloping you in their suffocating embrace, dissolving the last vestiges of your human consciousness. Your head spins, your vision blurs, and a profound dizziness takes hold, pulling you down into the heart of the divine trance. This isn't a gentle transition. It's a brutal tearing of violent separation of your mind from your body, leaving you adrift in a sea of pure, unadulterated divine energy. It's a common misconception that the Pythias simply meditated. Historical sources suggest a much more intense, physically demanding experience bordering on seizure. You are a vessel violently possessed, your humanity stripped away. The visions, now almost constant, overwhelm your senses. You are no longer merely observing. You are immersing yourself in the very fabric of fate. You might find yourself amidst a thriving city, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin, hearing the joyous laughter of children, and witnessing the construction of magnificent new buildings, only to then be plunged into a brutal famine, feeling the gnawing hunger in your stomach. Seeing the emaciated faces of the dying, and experiencing the desperation of a populace ravaged by disease. The emotional impact of these experiences is immense, leaving you profoundly shaken even after the trance subsides. You are a repository of all human joy and suffering, endlessly experiencing the fates of others with no outlet for your own profound emotional exhaustion. Your voice, now entirely alien to you, issues forth the pronouncements of Apollo. It can be a resonant boom that fills the Aditon, or a hoarse whisper barely audible above your ragged breathing. The words are cryptic, laden with symbolism and metaphor, often defying immediate comprehension. The priests, ever diligent, scribble furiously, their quills scratching against papyrus, attempting to capture every nuanced utterance. They prod with questions, seeking clarification, but you are beyond direct response. You are merely the echoing chamber, the resonating vessel for a divine will that is often deliberately obscure, caring little for human understanding or convenience. When the divine current finally recedes, it's not a gentle ebbing, but a sudden violent cessation, like a plug being yanked from an overflowing basin. You gasp for air, your body convulsing, covered in a cold sweat. A blinding pain pierces your head, and profound nausea churns in your gut, often leading to violent retching. Every muscle in your body aches as if you've been brutally beaten. The priests are there, helping you down their hands. Impersonal, their faces betraying no sympathy. You are simply exhausted, utterly depleted, a husk of your former self. You crave only the oblivion of sleep, but even that offers little true rest. The periods between trances offer scant reprieve. You are perpetually fatigued, your mind a foggy landscape haunted by the lingering echoes of prophecies and the incessant clamor of divine voices. Sleep is rarely restorative, often plagued by vivid nightmares that feel indistinguishable from actual prophecies. Your physical health continues its slow decline. Your skin is perpetually sallow, your eyes deeply sunken, and your body often racked by aches and an uncontrollable tremor. The constant exposure to the fumes, the relentless psychic drain, and the profound stress of channeling the divine slowly erode your very being. It's a quiet, insidious decay, a life slowly extinguished on the altar of divine will. The endless procession of petitioners is a constant reminder of your plight. Day after day, they come bringing their hopes, their fears, their dilemmas. You hear the ambitious pleas of generals seeking victory, the desperate cries of lovers yearning for reunion, the anxious questions of farmers praying for rain. You are privy to the most intimate details of their lives, their deepest secrets and desires, yet you remain utterly separate and unapproachable figure on the tripod. You are the sacred listener, but never the active participant. You must speak in riddles and metaphors, ensuring that the gods' will, however obscure, is delivered without altering fate directly. This burden of knowing so much, yet being able to reveal so little, is a profound and isolating torment. It's like being a doctor who can diagnose every illness but is forbidden from prescribing a cure, forced to watch suffering without intervention. The irony of your existence is a cruel twist of fate. You are the most influential person in the Greek world, capable of swaying empires and shaping destinies, yet you are a prisoner in your own body, a voice for others but silenced in your own desires. Your wisdom is legendary, but your own destiny is rigidly defined, a pre-written script from which you cannot deviate. You are glorified, placed on a pedestal, but that pedestal is built upon your constant suffering and profound isolation. You are a tool, a sacred instrument valued only for your ability to channel the divine, stripped of all personal identity. There are even moments, though rare, when the sheer absurdity of your situation breaks through the oppressive weight of your existence. Perhaps a simple farmer worried about a persistent blight on his crops asks for guidance, and your divine pronouncement, delivered in that resonant, otherworldly tone, is a highly specific, intricate method for weaving a type of basket known only to a long-forgotten tribe. The priests exchange baffled glances while the farmer stares blankly, utterly lost. Or a young artisan seeking inspiration for his pottery receives a prophecy detailing the precise flight patterns of a rare nocturnal moth. These rare flashes of divine eccentricity, though infrequent, offer a brief, almost welcome moment of bizarre levity in your otherwise somber life. Remember the time you gave a prophecy about the optimal temperature for curing olives? And the war general who asked the question looked utterly bewildered. It was a moment of internal, albeit silent, amusement for you. Your life is a continuous sacrifice, a slow, agonizing immolation on the altar of divine will. The temple walls, echoing with countless prophecies, seem to whisper your misery back to you, a constant reminder of the profound, lonely sacrifice that defines your existence. You are forever bound to the gods, a silent testament to the agonizing price of divine communion, a beacon of wisdom bought at the cost of your own soul. The temple, once a symbol of mankind's connection to the divine, has become a gilded cage, its sacred stones pressing in on your weary soul. Each dawn brings not the promise of a new day, but the dread of another cycle of servitude, another descent into the chaotic abyss of prophecy. You exist in a state of perpetual exhaustion, a ghost in your own body, your consciousness a mere whisper against the clamor of the divine. The very air, thick with the lingering scent of laurel, and the metallic tang of the chasm's fumes, feels like a physical weight crushing your spirit. As you are led towards the Adyton, your steps are faltering, a testament to the profound physical toll this life has taken. The priests, their faces etched with practiced solemnity, guide you with impersonal hands, their gazes fixed not on you, the human, but on the sacred vessel you represent. The sounds of the temple, the muffled whispers of petitioners, the rhythmic chanting of rites, the distant clang of offerings, all blend into a droning hum, a backdrop to your silent agony. You feel an immense aching loneliness, a yearning for genuine human connection that is brutally perpetually denied. This isolation is a cold, ever-present companion, a void within your heart that no divine wisdom can fill. You are settled onto the tripod, its cold bronze searing through your thin robes. The fumes rise, a swirling, suffocating cloud that begins its insidious work. Your head spins, your vision blurs, and the world outside the Adyton dissolves into a kaleidoscopic smear. This is the moment of surrender, the terrifying threshold, where your human will is shattered, replaced by the relentless current of Apollo's power. There is no resistance left within you, only a profound, weary acceptance. Some scholarly theories suggest the Pythia's trances were a form of deep psychological dissociation, induced by sensory deprivation, and the highly ritualized environment, rather than purely chemical effects. Regardless, the impact on your mind is total, a complete and terrifying loss of self. Then, the torrent. Visions flood your mind, no longer distant or veiled, but intensely, viscerally real. You might find yourself immersed in the heart of a vast empire, feeling the weight of crowns and the burden of countless lives, witnessing the intricate dance of power and treachery. You might then be cast into a humble home, feeling the warmth of a family's love, the joy of simple pleasures, only to then experience the crushing grief of loss, the agonizing pain of a child's passing. The emotions of these experiences are not merely observed. They are felt with an intensity that tears at your very being, leaving you emotionally raw and utterly depleted. You are living countless lives within the span of a single prophecy, bearing witness to triumphs and tragedies that are not your own yet, which feel deeply personal in their impact. This relentless empathy is an exhausting, soul-crushing burden. Your voice now, a resonant boom or a guttural whisper, issues forth the pronouncements of Apollo. The words are cryptic, laden with symbolism and metaphor, often defying immediate comprehension. They tumble out, a chaotic outpouring, driven by an unseen force. The priests, with their furrowed brows and frantic scribbling, attempt to capture every ambiguous utterance. They interject with questions, trying to clarify the divine message, but you are beyond direct response, a mere instrument for a will that is often deliberately obscure, caring little for human understanding or convenience. When the divine current finally recedes, it's not a gentle ebbing, but a violent wrenching snap, back to your own consciousness. You gasp for air, your body convulsing, covered in a cold sweat. A blinding pain pierces your head, and profound nausea churns in your gut, often leading to violent retching. Every muscle in your body aches as if you've been physically torn apart. The priests are there, helping you down, their hands impersonal, their faces betraying no sympathy. You are simply exhausted, utterly depleted, a husk of your former self. You crave only the oblivion of sleep, but even that offers little true rest, your dreams haunted by fragmented visions and the clamor of divine voices. The periods between trances offer scant reprieve. You are perpetually fatigued, your mind, a foggy landscape haunted by the lingering echoes of prophecies and the incessant clamor of divine voices. Sleep is rarely restorative, often plagued by vivid nightmares that feel indistinguishable from actual prophecies. Your physical health continues its slow decline. Your skin is perpetually sallow, your eyes deeply sunken, and your body often racked by aches and an uncontrollable tremor. The constant exposure to the fumes, the relentless psychic drain, and the profound stress of channeling the divine slowly erode your very being. It's a quiet, insidious decay, a life slowly extinguished on the altar of divine will. The endless procession of petitioners is a constant reminder of your plight. Day after day, they come bringing their hopes, their fears, their dilemmas. You hear the ambitious pleas of generals seeking victory, the desperate cries of lovers yearning for reunion, the anxious questions of farmers praying for rain. You are privy to the most intimate details of their lives, their deepest secrets and desires, yet you remain utterly separate, an unapproachable figure on the tripod. You are the sacred listener, but never the active participant. You must speak in riddles and metaphors, ensuring that the god's will, however obscure, is delivered without altering fate directly. This burden of knowing so much, yet being able to reveal so little, is a profound and isolating torment. It's like being a sentinel on a watchtower, seeing all that transpires below, but forbidden from descending to intervene. The irony of your existence is a cruel twist of fate. You are the most influential person in the Greek world, capable of swaying empires and shaping destinies, yet you are a prisoner in your own body, a voice for others but silenced in your own desires. Your wisdom is legendary, but your own destiny is rigidly defined, a pre-written script from which you cannot deviate. You are glorified, placed on a pedestal, but that pedestal is built upon your constant suffering and profound isolation. You are a tool, a sacred instrument valued only for your ability to channel the divine, stripped of all personal identity. There are even moments, though rare, when the sheer absurdity of your situation breaks through the oppressive weight of your existence. Perhaps a simple merchant, desperate to know the best time to sell his olives, receives a divine pronouncement, detailing the precise astrological alignment for a particularly rare lunar eclipse, completely irrelevant to his query. The priests exchange baffled glances while the merchant stares blankly, utterly lost. Or a young woman seeking guidance on finding a suitable husband receives a prophecy about the ideal method for constructing a complex irrigation system. These rare flashes of divine eccentricity, though infrequent, offer a brief, almost welcome moment of bizarre levity in your otherwise somber life. Remember the time you inadvertently gave a prophecy about the optimal way to bake bread, and the warrior who asked looked completely dumbfounded? It was a moment of internal, albeit fleeting amusement for you, a tiny flicker of the human spirit refusing to be entirely extinguished. Your life is a continuous sacrifice, a slow, agonizing immolation on the altar of divine will. The temple walls echoing with countless prophecies seem to whisper your misery back to you, a constant reminder of the profound, lonely sacrifice that defines your existence. You are forever bound to the gods, a silent testament to the agonizing price of divine communion, a beacon of wisdom bought at the cost of your own soul. You yearn for something else, something beyond the confines of this sacred prison, a whisper of freedom that haunts your waking thoughts and troubled dreams. The temple, a timeless monument to divine will, now feels like an extension of your own weary body, its ancient stones absorbing your silent pleas. Every sunrise is a grim reminder of your unbroken servitude, a testament to the unyielding grip of the gods. You exist in a state of perpetual limbo, your consciousness a fragile thread, constantly threatened by the overwhelming influx of divine energy. The very air is thick with the pervasive scent of laurel, and the metallic tang of the chasm's fumes a nauseating reminder of your daily torment. As you are led towards the Aditon, your steps are heavy, almost shuffling a faint echo of the spirited youth you once were. The priests, their faces unchanging, guide you with impersonal efficiency, their hands merely facilitating the inevitable. The muffled sounds of the waiting supplicants, the drone of the ritualistic chanting, they all merge into a distant, almost dreamlike hum. You are consumed by an immense aching loneliness, a yearning for genuine human connection that remains perpetually unfulfilled. This isolation is a cold, suffocating blanket that smothers any flicker of hope. You are settled onto the tripod, its cold, unyielding bronze, a stark reminder of your impending ordeal. The fumes rise, a swirling, suffocating cloud that begins its insidious work, dissolving the last vestiges of your human consciousness. Your head spins, your vision blurs, and a profound dizziness takes hold, pulling you down into the heart of the divine trance. There is no resistance left within you, only a profound, weary acceptance of the inevitable shattering of yourself. While popular culture often romanticizes the oracle's visions, historical accounts suggest a process that was often violent and physically taxing, far from serene contemplation. You are a vessel brutally possessed, your humanity stripped away for the sake of divine communication. Then the final torrent. Visions flood your mind, no longer distant or veiled, but intensely viscerally real. You might find yourself soaring above distant lands, witnessing the rise and fall of empires, the birth of new philosophies, the enduring struggles of humanity across generations. You might then be plunged into the mundane, feeling the simple joy of a family meal, the warmth of a hearth, the quiet satisfaction of a day's labor, only to then experience the chilling weight of a world-altering decision, the silent desperation of countless souls hanging in the balance. The emotions of these experiences are not merely observed, they are felt with an intensity that tears at your very being, leaving you emotionally raw and utterly depleted. You are living countless lives within the span of a single prophecy, bearing witness to triumphs and tragedies that are not your own, yet which feel deeply personal in their impact. This relentless empathy is an exhausting, soul-crushing burden that permeates your entire existence. Your voice, now a resonant boom or a guttural whisper, issues forth the final pronouncements of Apollo. The words are cryptic, laden with symbolism and metaphor, often defying immediate comprehension. They tumble out a chaotic outpouring, driven by an unseen force, a final echo of divine will. The priests, with their furrowed brows and frantic scribbling, attempt to capture every ambiguous utterance. They interject with questions, trying to clarify the divine message, but you are beyond direct response, a mere instrument for a will that is often deliberately obscure, caring little for human understanding or convenience. When the divine current finally recedes, it's not a gentle ebbing, but a violent, wrenching snap back to your own consciousness. You gasp for air, your body convulsing, covered in a cold sweat. A blinding pain pierces your head, and profound nausea churns in your gut, often leading to violent retching. Every muscle in your body aches as if you've been physically torn apart. The priests are there, helping you down, their hands impersonal, their faces betraying no sympathy. You are simply exhausted, utterly depleted, a husk of your former self. You crave only the oblivion of sleep, but even that offers little true rest. Your dreams haunted by fragmented visions and the clamor of divine voices. The periods between trances offer scant reprieve. You are perpetually fatigued, your mind a foggy landscape haunted by the lingering echoes of prophecies and the incessant clamor of divine voices. Sleep is rarely restorative, often plagued by vivid nightmares that feel indistinguishable from actual prophecies. Your physical health continues its slow decline. Your skin is perpetually sallow, your eyes deeply sunken, and your body often racked by aches and an uncontrollable tremor. The constant exposure to the fumes, the relentless psychic drain, and the profound stress of channeling the divine slowly erode your very being. It's a quiet, insidious decay, a life slowly extinguished on the altar of divine will. The endless procession of petitioners is a constant reminder of your plight. Day after day, they come bringing their hopes, their fears, their dilemmas. You hear the ambitious pleas of generals seeking victory, the desperate cries of lovers yearning for reunion, the anxious questions of farmers praying for rain. You are privy to the most intimate details of their lives, their deepest secrets and desires, yet you remain utterly separate, an unapproachable figure on the tripod. You are the sacred listener, but never the active participant. You must speak in riddles and metaphors, ensuring that the God's will, however obscure, is delivered without altering fate directly. This burden of knowing so much, yet being able to reveal so little, is a profound and isolating torment. It's like being a painter who can only create masterpieces for others, never for themselves. The irony of your existence is a cruel twist of fate. You are the most influential person in the Greek world, capable of swaying empires and shaping destinies, yet you are a prisoner in your own body, a voice for others but silenced in your own desires. Your wisdom is legendary, but your own destiny is rigidly defined, a pre-written script from which you cannot deviate. You are glorified, placed on a pedestal, but that pedestal is built upon your constant suffering and profound isolation. You are a tool, a sacred instrument valued only for your ability to channel the divine, stripped of all personal identity. There are even moments, though rare, when the sheer absurdity of your situation breaks through the oppressive weight of your existence. Perhaps a simple farmer worried about a persistent blight on his crops asks for guidance, and your divine pronouncement, delivered in that resonant, otherworldly tone, is a highly specific, intricate method for weaving a type of basket known only to a long-forgotten tribe. The priests exchange baffled glances while the farmer stares blankly, utterly lost. Or a young artisan seeking inspiration for his pottery receives a prophecy detailing the precise flight patterns of a rare nocturnal moth. These rare flashes of divine eccentricity, though infrequent, offer a brief, almost welcome moment of bizarre levity in your otherwise somber life. Remember the time you inadvertently gave a prophecy about the optimal way to bake bread, and the warrior who asked looked completely dumbfounded. It was a moment of internal, albeit fleeting amusement for you, a tiny flicker of the human spirit refusing to be entirely extinguished. Your life is a continuous sacrifice, a slow, agonizing immolation on the altar of divine will. The temple walls echoing with countless prophecies seem to whisper your misery back to you, a constant reminder of the profound, lonely sacrifice that defines your existence. You are forever bound to the gods, a silent testament to the agonizing price of divine communion, a beacon of wisdom bought at the cost of your own soul. You yearn for something else, something beyond the confines of this sacred prison, a whisper of freedom that haunts your waking thoughts and troubled dreams. Your legacy, a complex tapestry of divine power and profound human suffering, continues to resonate through the ages, a chilling reminder of the heavy cost of being chosen.